Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without all those iconic TV Christmas specials. Hey people, my name's Jim and you have landed on Planet Rewind, and this is another Christmas video. Of course, Christmas is nearly here, and whatever way you experience it, whether you're not seeing your family this year, because it is a very crazy, insane year, which I'm glad to see the back of. Very, very bizarre Christmas this year for myself personally. I'm trying to stay in the Christmas spirit by just recapping on the Christmas movies and TV that I love. At least having some contact with my friends and family on phone or whatever, on message. Very, very bizarre, but you've got to keep Christmas alive in your heart. So everyone out there, I hope you're having a great Christmas in whichever way you can. So what better way, if we are inside and we can't see anyone, than to just recap and reminisce with those great Christmas TV specials. So I've made a list of my 10 favourite Christmas TV specials which you should all watch this year. Let's count down my top 10. Number 10 is Doctor Who, Voyage of the Damned. Now, Doctor Who was on fire at this point. David Tennant, of course, had reinvented the show, made it, massively popular. Now, this Christmas special isn't actually really to do with Christmas, just takes place on Christmas. But, it's such a fantastic episode, I really recommend you guys watch it. Doctor Who always gets into his most mischief around Christmas. So in this one, David Tennant's Doctor basically encounters a replica of the Titanic heading to Earth, on a voyage to Earth. So I love the concept, and I love the visuals of that concept. I love the idea, and I love how David Tennant's Doctor is in great form in this episode. He is having a whale of a time in the role. Kylie Minogue is in this as a waitress, and she builds a really nice, sweet connection with the Doctor as the Titanic is being kind of hijacked by these evil robots, which is Doctor Who. What else do you expect? Evil robots. It does have some Christmas elements, like there's some nice kind of side characters. This married couple who are really sweet and they keep their Christmas spirit through this. The Doctor makes a few gags, how he's always getting in trouble on Christmas. The Doctor and Astrid, played by Kylie Minogue, have a nice, sweet relationship where he kind of gives her this kind of hope for something beyond the mundane at Christmas time. And it's a very thrilling episode, very, very well done episode. It's great fun, and it is back when Doctor Who, modern Doctor Who, was just on another level. David Tennant was on fire. You couldn't really beat it. It's a thrilling, fantastic episode, wonderful performance by Tennant, and I recommend you guys watch it this Christmas just to see the bloody Titanic heading through space. Only in Doctor Who, guys. Number 9 is Blackadder's Christmas Carol. Now, Blackadder is a show that was broadcast, British show, in the 70s and 80s, and it's basically about this jerk, Blackadder, played by Rowan Atkinson, who also played Mr. Bean. He's just been a jerk through all eras of time, so it shows him on his different eras of time. So it shows him in Elizabethan times, in, the Middle Ages. It shows him in all these different time periods. This one is obviously set in the Charles Dickens times, and it is, of course, A Christmas Carol, but the way they flip it, with how cynical Blackadder was as a show and how hilarious it was, is that Blackadder Scrooge starts off as a nice person. Only in Blackadder, he basically realises there is more to be gained through being a horrible person. Christmas, guys. But the thing is about Blackadder is the reason it works is because it's so dry, and it's so... The sarcasm, the wit, the lines, the jokes are so funny. Just how much of an arsehole this character is just funny. You love hating him.
At Christmas time and baby Jesus too. If we were little pigs we'd sing piggy wiggy 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 woo. Piggy wiggy 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 woo. Oh piggy wiggy wiggy woo. Piggy wiggy woo. Oh piggy wiggy 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 woo. Utter crap.
So if you're a bit more cynical about Christmas and you just want to laugh at it a bit, watch Blackadder's Christmas Carol this year. You won't regret it. It's so funny, full of those trademark, fantastic Blackadder, hilarious lines. Number 8 is the Hey Arnold Christmas special, Arnold's Christmas. Oh my god, guys, I love Hey Arnold. It's one of my nostalgic cartoons I grew up with. I'm really glad I did, because there is such heart to that show. There is such genuinity put into the writing of that show. There is such wonderful optimism put into the character of Arnold. He's just basically this regular kid with a football-shaped head who hangs around with his friends. He just wants to see the good in everyone, and it's all about his life. So in this episode, Arnold gets his neighbour Mr. Wynn, who is a Vietnamese immigrant, as his secret Santa. And he finds out that Mr. Wynn has a long lost daughter, and it's all about Arnold trying to reunite Mr. Wynn with his long lost daughter. It's just so cute in these times to see Arnold decide he's going to do that, believe that he's capable of doing it, to want to do that for someone. This episode is all about, he's not even really great friends with Mr. Wynn, but it's all about doing those random acts of kindness. I love the vibe and the animation of this show. I just love how charming and down to earth it is, so much heart. It's a wonderful Christmas special, definitely check it out this year. Number 7 is A Charlie Brown Christmas. Oh guys, we just talked about Hey Arnold. Now we go even more into the heartwarming children's cartoons, but this one is the melancholy, kind of nostalgic, yearning style. You know, there was something about the Charlie Brown cartoons. They were really uncompromising for children. They discussed real issues. In this episode, Charlie Brown isn't feeling Christmas, and he admits that he's depressed. I tell you, these cartoons were made like in the 70s. I can't believe they were mentioning depression in the 70s. So ambitious for its time. So Charlie Brown is feeling kind of cut off from Christmas, and to help with that, he decides to direct his friend's play. And that's basically it, to try and regain his Christmas joy and heart for the season. You never see adults in the Charlie Brown show, ever. And I love that, because it really feels like a show about children making sense of the world. It's a child's interpretation of the world. It's a really well-meaning episode, really sweet, really well done, iconic show. I really recommend A Charlie Brown Christmas. Number 6 is Merry Christmas Mr. Bean, which is another UK show, and it stars the guy from Blackadder, Rowan Atkinson, of course, in arguably his more famous role, Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is basically a child in an adult's body. The show is silent, really. Kind of return to silent humour, kind of a return to the Charlie Chaplin kind of Laurel and Hardy type humour. It's in like a 90s setting. It just goes to show that silence can be still really effective, you know, and I really feel like if Mr. Bean talked more, it probably would be a detriment to the show, because it's his innocence, his kind of cut off kind of feeling to the world, you know, he's different to everyone, you know, but it's really well communicated through silence, and I feel like it makes him more likeable through silence, where you just see that face, you just see those gestures and what he gets up to. He will play with the Christmas nativity like it's action figures when he goes to see it. He starts conducting the Christmas band when he goes to see that. It's just him getting up to little adventures here and there, and kind of not really realising the spirit of Christmas, but also in a way as well realising it, because he is the definition of an excited, joyful kid at Christmas, you know, and Christmas is that time where kids get to just run around and be happy, I guess. Believe it or not, Mr. Bean's got a bloody girlfriend. How did he manage that? The guy barely speaks, let alone his personality. So he has a girlfriend who comes around for Christmas, and it's got one of the most famous lines of the entire show, because Mr. Bean somehow ends up with the bloody turkey on his head.
You got the turkey on?
It's really heartbreaking the way he treats his girlfriend, because his girlfriend just wants a ring from him, bless her, and he's a child in a man's body, so he doesn't know what to give her, and he just gives her like a picture and this and that, and it's like she runs off crying, and he doesn't understand why. Kind of a sense of weird sadness underlying the show, but Mr. Bean never really realises it, because he's too busy being in his own world, I guess.
Merry Christmas, Mr. B.
Number 5 is Ross Kemp's A Christmas Carol. You will never have heard of this. Absolutely no chance. Ross Kemp is an actor who appeared in the famous, still ongoing, British soap opera EastEnders. And he played Grant Mitchell. And then he kind of branched out of that show and done a lot of documentaries, and still doing that to this day. But in the 90s, he did A Christmas Carol adaptation, randomly. And it's basically one of the best Christmas Carol adaptations of all time, in my opinion. It's basically A Christmas Carol meets Groundhog Day, because in this one, they set it in a modern setting. They kind of, you know, take a new twist on the story. Ross Kemp plays Eddie Scrooge, who is a loan shark in this, you know, set in kind of 90s London. He's a loan shark. And in a different way to the Christmas Carol we know, he starts having Groundhog Day. He starts living the same day over and over again until he learns what he needs to learn, of course. This is wonderful, guys. This is really, really good. Most of the time we're just adapting Christmas Carol over and over again. This is not that. It actually goes, right, we'll do something different with it. You know, and there's some wonderful performances. You really believe the love story in it between Eddie Scrooge and the woman he let get away. There's lots of emotional moments by Ross Kemp acting-wise. It's basically like seeing Grant Mitchell from EastEnders be Scrooge. So you get a kick out of that, because he's just got this London hard man kind of style, kind of in a way the perfect actor to do it, because he's just such a, you know, bad boy basically. And then when he becomes a good man, that's really charming as well, and really genuine, really kind of, you believe it. Like a lot of time in the Scrooge adaptation, Scrooge will be at the end really, really overly happy and charming, whereas when it happens in this, Eddie Scrooge is genuine. You can see there's no ulterior motive. He has realised the true value of being kind.
I was just wondering if you'd come over for Christmas dinner.
I'd love to. I bloody will love to. And tell that wife of yours to expect a turkey big enough to aspire with Mike Tyson.
Check this out, guys. I really recommend it. It's one of the best Christmas Carol adaptations. If you want a different Christmas Carol adaptation, check out Ross Kemp's A Christmas Carol this year. Number 4 on the list is Bottom. Now, the Bottom Christmas special, the episode is called Holy. Now, get ready, guys, for something that is not very Christmassy. You know, as I said, Blackadder's Christmas Carol is kind of a cynical version of Christmas. This is like a slapstick comedy, but just morbid version of Christmas. The TV show Bottom is starring Rick Mail, one of the most famous British comedians. Americans might just know him from starring in Drop Dead Fred, and his fellow actor Adrian Edmondson. And they play basically two loser guys who are constantly scheming, constantly fighting, constantly disagreeing. And this is like in the 90s Britain, and they're just complete and utter perverts, and they're just kind of evil but kind of endearing as well. Kind of like Roald Dahl characters, but with this weird adult edge to them. And this is basically them attempting to have a Christmas, and it's a real manic, wild, frantic episode with some real brilliant writing too. Obviously, you know, we start off with Rick Mail's character of Richie. You know, they haven't even got Christmas presents, so he wraps all the Brussels sprouts in wrapping paper, unwraps them all. It's another Brussels sprout. We must have enough for a whole Christmas lunch now. These guys are just sad, pathetic people, and they kind of deserve to be, because they're kind of horrible. You know, there's nothing Christmassy to this. There really isn't, but it's just so funny. And also, when he's preparing Christmas dinner, Rick Mail accidentally slices his finger off. This is the comedy of this show, guys. It's bonkers. Eventually, a little baby gets left on their doorstep, and hilariously, they give like kind of a take on the virgin birth.
You can have my Christmas present. It's a box of Terry's All Gold. We'll have to wait for his little teeth to come through before he can manage the chewy ones.
Oh.
Yeah, look. He can have my Frankenstein mask I was going to scare the shit out of Richie with later.
Yeah. And you can have my bottle of aftershave. It's a new one. It's called Grr.
Gold, Frankenstein, and Grr. And you're all wearing crowns. And I'm a virgin.
The chemistry between Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson is one of the golden points of Bottom. And, you know, if you love slapstick comedy, if you love something a little bit morbid for Christmas, if you love genius writing, if you love childish humour, You will love Bottom. Holy is one of my favourite Christmas specials. It's not very Christmassy, but it's very, very creative and very, very hilarious to watch. Number 3 is Father Christmas from 1991. Now, Raymond Briggs was the guy who illustrated several famous children's books. Snowman, The Boogeyman, and Father Christmas. Mel Smith voices Father Christmas, and it's a different take on Father Christmas. In this one, he lives in a normal house, he has normal pets, he has like some reindeers, obviously you live outside, and he's a normal guy. You know, he's slightly grumpy, he's slightly aggravated. You know, he always says bloomin' every 5 seconds. He'll say bloomin' this, bloomin' that. But he has a good heart, he's warm, he is Father Christmas, but he's more of a human version of Father Christmas. Kind of just presents him as this regular guy who has this crazy job. And in a way, obviously you can't go very far with it being a children's cartoon, but it's like, what a mental effect would it have on someone to do this job? And maybe he would be cursing all the time, maybe he would be grumpy all the time. He goes to France, he goes to Scotland, he goes to Las Vegas, and you know, you basically see Santa having good times, bad times, getting recognised, and it's really fun to see his little adventures going from here and there. Of course, Father Christmas goes back from his holidays and he has to become Father Christmas and do you know, his wonderful job on Christmas Eve. And you know, he's cursing, he's saying bloomin' every second, and Mel Smith is a great at voicing the character, but you like him so much. It gives Santa that regular person charm, but he's also magical because he is Santa Claus, but he's also an underdog Santa Claus, so it makes you root for him. There's a wonderful music and there's a wonderful song that plays, Another Blooming Christmas.
We sail through the sky, going ever so high. We wish you the best of the blooming season. So jump up on my sleigh and we're all on our way to another blooming Christmas.
I love this song, it warms my heart, makes me sing along. I remember it so strongly from being a kid, this animation, this cartoon, but also this song, really strongly, and it always warmed my heart, it always got me in the mood for Christmas, it always put a smile on my face. It's Raymond Briggs again at number 2 with The Snowman. Now this is more well known than Father Christmas, of course. The Snowman is a worldwide known book for children, which was animated into a film as well, another short film. This is special, guys. This is special. So a child basically makes a snowman that comes to life. That's the story of this. And they become friends. Adults are kind of kept in the background. They're not really in it. It's about the child's adventure. It's about the child's journey of self-discovery. About the child's little piece of mischief or this and that, where he learns something about himself or he's coming of age. And you know, the snowman is very much a version of that. So him and the snowman, they have a fun, mischievous time. He shows him around his home, he shows him the TV, he lets him try on some clothes, he lets him dance in his bedroom. You know, and the snowman is so endearing of a character. You know, again, not like Father Christmas. Father Christmas is full of dialogue. No dialogue. Silence, music, you know, and you know, it creates an even more of a sense of warmth and dreamlike atmosphere. There's no dialogue, and it makes that snowman even more great to watch because he's not talking, he's building this friendship with this child through gestures. Of course, the scene everyone will remember was where the snowman takes the child flying, and you will never see anything like this. The magic to the scene, the score, the song is so wonderful and so heartwarming and so otherworldly. And you know, why isn't this stuff being made now? You know, like quiet, sweet, tranquil, you know, passion-filled children's adaptations. You know, this is pure heart and pure passion. Number 1, my favourite Christmas special of all time. What is it? It is The Simpsons. Simpsons roasting on an open fire. The very first episode of The Simpsons was the Christmas special. Imagine that. There obviously was early Simpsons animation, but this was the first official version of The Simpsons. And amazing how they started off with a Christmas special, and it's one of the most charming episodes ever in The Simpsons. This is of course when Homer's character was different. Homer was a different character. He was a well-meaning, slightly grumpy, or smarter than he ended up being father who loved his family, and he was an underdog who tried his best. And in the early seasons, that kind of vulnerability of Homer, that capability to do better and not just be a complete moron. Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of The Simpsons where Homer's a complete idiot, but I do prefer the early Simpsons because it gave the show a bit more of a serious edge. It made the show a bit more relatable to regular families, and this Christmas special for me taps into that regular families struggle of Christmas. You know, it's kind of different to all the specials I've put on this list because it's about the regular family struggle to have an amazing Christmas. How for most of us regular families, money is always on the line. You know, organising is always on the line. Making sure we get on with everyone in our family is always on the line. It gave the show a very special heart to it.
It's a secret. I didn't get my bonus this year, but to keep the family from missing out on Christmas, I'd do anything.
I'll say, Dad, you must really love us to sink so low.
Well, let's not get mushy, son. I still have a job to do. Hey, little one!
Constantly keeps encountering Ned Flanders. One hilarious scene is where he's like, hey kids, I'm going to put up the lights, and he puts up the lights of his house, and it's like 1 or 2 lights, and you look over at Flanders' house. It's just, you know, a massive lights display. It's also a very funny episode, like with the storyline of Lisa asking for a pony, or Bart getting a tattoo. All he wants for Christmas is a tattoo, and he actually gets one, and he has to get its laser removed from his arm. It's a lovely episode, it really is, because it's about that last minute struggle at Christmas, and it's about realising that if you're a good person, you will be accepted at Christmas, and if you're trying your best, you will be accepted at Christmas. Very simple, meaningful episode, it really is, and the early Simpsons was simple and meaningful, and I miss it. I really miss that genuine, earnest feeling of early Simpsons.
Ralph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows like a light bulb.
Check out any of these Christmas specials this year. I recommend you check all of them out. Thanks for watching Planet Rewind, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I usually talk about nostalgic movies from the 80s and 90s, as well as new movies too. Comment down below if you've seen any of these Christmas specials, and let me know what your favourite TV Christmas specials are. Speak to your family however you can. Message someone who doesn't have someone this year. Try and keep it merry in your own little way. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys soon. I do have a couple more Christmas videos. Oh yes, I do. So stay tuned for them. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.